So I've taken two large plates at temperatures T1 and T2, where T1 is more than T2, and we need to find how much of heat is flowing per unit time, per unit area from one plate to another plate. So suppose we need to find the amount of heat that goes in this direction per unit time and per unit area. So this is the task. The reflectivity of the surface of plate 1 is R1 and that of plate 2 is R2. This is reflectivity. And emissivities are E1 and E2. And we know the relation that emissivity plus reflectivity becomes 1 for opaque bodies. Now suppose that the amount of heat that's going in this direction from plate 1 to 2, call it 1, 2, is H12. So H12 is the heat per unit area, per unit time striking on this plate from the other side. So this H12, after striking this plate 2, a part of this H2 will be reflected. And how much is that part? That is R2 times H12. So this is the amount of heat that will be reflected. And along with this, the heat which will be emitted per unit time, per unit area by the surface, that is E sigma T24. So these two heats will combine and they will go in the other direction. So that is H21. So we have a relation like this, E sigma T24, and this becomes H21. The same story is repeated on this surface. So this H21 will strike from the other side. A part will be reflected and that will be R1 times H21. And with this, there will be some heat emitted per unit time, per unit area, and that is E sigma. We can write this as E2, this as E1, E1 sigma T14, and these two together form H12. So we have these two expressions and we have to find the net amount of heat that goes from one side to other. Suppose we have to find this H. So this H is H12 minus H21. Okay. So these are the equations. Now we have to solve these equations. I'm writing this here. Okay. So put the value of H21 from the above equation, R1. In the place of H21 from the above equation, it is R2 H12 plus E2 sigma T24 plus E1 sigma T14. This is H12. So bring all H12 terms on one side. So 1 minus R1 R2 equal to R1 E2 sigma T24 plus E1 sigma T14. So this is H12 equal to R1 E2 sigma T24 plus E1 sigma T14 upon 1 minus R1 R2. Exactly in the same way we can find H21. Either you can solve fully or just by looking this term, just convert 1 into 2 and 2 into 1. So R2, in place of R1 we have R2, in place of E2 we'll have E1 sigma T14 plus E2 sigma T24 upon 1 minus R1 R2. Then to find H, we have to subtract H12 minus H21. So that we have to do 1 minus R1 R2 you can take as common. E2 sigma T24, this term, and this term. So take these two terms first. So this will become R1 minus 1 plus, now take these two terms. So E1 sigma T14 1 minus R2. Okay. E2 sigma T24. We know that R1 plus E1 is 1. So R1 minus 1 is minus E1. And 1 minus R2 is E2. So again, you can take E1, E2 as common. Writing this term first. Sigma, you can take sigma as well as common. So finally, we have this expression E1, E2 upon 1 minus. In place of R1, you can write 1 minus E1. In place of R2, you can write 1 minus E2 sigma T14 minus T24. So this is the amount of heat that goes from one plate to another per second per unit area. Okay, thank you.